Hello everybody, welcome to vividedge.org. In this class, I'm your instructor. My name is Nathan, and I'll be going over some basic HTML and CSS. To start off, you'll need Dreamweaver. You won't need an internet connection for this brief little introduction class. You will need Dreamweaver. I'm using just about the latest version of Adobe Dreamweaver. So what we will do to start off is we will open up a new document. So you can go File, New, and we'll choose HTML. And we'll select Create. Alright, so this is an HTML document. We have the head, which is here to here, and we have the body, which is from here to here, all enclosed within a basic HTML tag. You don't have to worry about that. I'm going to keep this really simple. So the goal of this lesson is to basically create some type and then adjust the way it looks using CSS. And you can pause this video at any moment if you need. So let's get started. First of all, we'll save this document. We'll go to File, Save As, and we will save it as call it lesson, and I will save it to my desktop. Press save. Alright, so we got that. So what we do is go into the body, and we'll make a couple spaces so we have room to work. And what we'll do first is just type something. I'm going to type lesson 1. I'll use the word 1. So lesson 1. So we got content here. So if we go here, if we right click, first we'll save this file, save. It's already named, so when it saves it, it will be the name of that file. We'll go to save. And we'll right click on this tab and go open in browser. And we'll use Google Chrome. Let me just bring this over here. So right there, you see it's previewing, it says lesson 1. It's pretty basic. There's not much to it. It's raw type, you can highlight it. So let's continue. So the first thing we'll do is we're going to create a div tag, so to speak. So we'll go open caret div space, and we'll go class equals, what is that, parentheses, and then we'll close the parentheses, and then we'll close the tag. And to put the div, the closing tag right there, we'll take this and just drag it there. Now, in between these parentheses, we got to name it something. It can be anything. I'll just call this, I don't know, I'll just call it lesson. No, that's too confusing. I'll call it style 1. Alright. So we got a div class called style 1, and it's wrapped around this text here. So when we go to here, open in browser, Google Chrome, we'll save changes. It hasn't done anything. Alright, so now we're going to do something else here. We're going to go to File, New, and go CSS, make a CSS document. And we'll go Create. Alright, so this is a CSS document. And we'll go save it as something. We'll go File, Save As. We'll save it to our desktop. And I'll call it lesson CSS and save it. So we got that. So what we're going to do is basically anywhere in here, in the HTML document here, also called lesson, but lesson HTML, we called the class style 1. That doesn't exist yet, so we're going to create that. So we go here, go dot style 1, curly braces, and then curly braces, and then we'll add some returns. So in the space between these braces is where we're going to tell the the div tag what to look like, the thing inside the div tag what to look like. So one thing we could do, I would say the simplest thing to do would be to go, I would say first we'll do width. Width equals width. We'll say 90%. We'll say 70%. 70%, and then a little semicolon. So we'll go File, Save. Now when you go back to here and go to preview it, it doesn't look any different. So let's keep going. And here we'll go margin hyphen left. What is that called? So 70, so 100 minus 70 is 30. So we'll make this 15%. And then we'll go margin right 15%. Let's see what that does. We'll save this and go Control S to save. So the next step we got to do is we have the HTML page with the div class and we have the CSS, but this lesson.css isn't connected to the lesson.html yet. So what we have to do, I'll go here, File, Open, look at my references. So here's a reference file I have. So you can see in this one right here, it's a link in the head of the HTML page that connects the CSS file to this page. So in this one, so let me just take this, copy this, right click on it, go copy, and then go to my HTML lesson page, go to the head, we'll put a space right here and paste it. So it is open caret link href equals, and then parentheses, and the name of the file, and then the rel equals style sheet. It's a style sheet, which is what the CSS file is, and then the type is text CSS. So what we'll do, the only thing we have to do to make this work now is to change this from nhd underscore responsive and name it the lesson CSS. So lesson, and it's right there, lesson CSS. So now when I save this, theoretically when I go to preview this now, it should do something else. It should look different. And it does. So now you can see that the word lesson is moved over a few inches, maybe 200 pixels so from the left. And it's actually doing that from the right as well. But to really get an understanding of what's going on here, let's do one more thing. Now in the lesson CSS file, we'll do another property. Go background color, and we'll choose the color picker here in Dreamweaver. Let's make it something nice, like green, and press enter, and it puts it there, and then the semicolon. Let's save this. We saved it, so now let's go back to the HTML document and preview that. All right, so now as you can see, this helps us visualize more what's going on. We have the word lesson, and you can see it has a green background. It's green because we told it to be green in the CSS. Another example, and this is showing us that the CSS is controlling what this text looks like, at least what the background looks like and stuff. So to take it a step further, just to give you an example of what's going on, to show that I have control of the width and the margins, let me change the width here to 100% and change these to 0. Can anyone think what's going to happen when I do this, what it's going to look like? We'll save this and check it out. As you can see now, the div is going 100% across the screen. It's going all the way from the left to the right, and it wasn't doing that before. To give you another example, if you made the width, say, 20%, and what would that be? 100 minus 20 would be 80. So these would be 40, just put a 4 here and a 4 here. Save that. And then go here and preview in browser. And now it looks like that. This distance here is 20% of the overall width of the window, and these margins are 40% on the left and right. And as you can see, when I make the window bigger, the square doesn't stay the same size, it actually does get wider. And if I make it smaller, it gets smaller too. This is a part of responsive design. This div is always being 20% of the total width of the screen. I hope you're starting to see how the properties we put in the CSS file directly control the HTML file, or at least what's tagged in the HTML file, what the div is wrapped around, and it's controlling that space on the website, or what would be on a website. So CSS is very powerful. There's many properties you can give a div, and there's almost an endless amount of combinations of things you can do using CSS. So just for review real quick, because I want to keep this lesson relatively short, and this is really basic. In our HTML file, we basically have in the head a link, and this right here, where it says the href has to be the name of the file that's right up here, that's the CSS. So it takes whatever is in this document and applies it to the HTML, but not just that. This in the CSS, this right here, the style 1 has the exact same name in this document right here that the class is. That's called a class. So it's referencing this, and it's telling what text is in here, what to do. So like if I even typed in more like lesson 1, I am adding more text to look at. When I save that and preview it, you can see it just goes right in the div. And I'm just going to wrap this up with one little cool thing. And there's going to be more classes on this, but I just want to keep it really bite-sized. I'm going to do this border radius 5 pixels. We'll save that and preview it. And now you can see this div has rounded corners. It's a little hard to see. Let me zoom in for you if I can. Yeah. Actually, it's actually zooming and everything, but you can see now it has a border radius. But I just wanted this to be a short little introduction. So for a final wrap up, and there's so much you can do with this, it's so much complexity in web design and HTML and CSS, but I just really wanted, basically one of the most simple kind of demonstrations, and see that it's responsive too. The width changes according to the width of the browser window, which is a really good thing. The basics of this lesson are: in an HTML document, create a open caret div. This is what I call open caret div, and then the class equals and name it something, and then close it with a close caret, and every tag, this is a tag, every tag needs an end tag, and this is the end tag. An end tag is open caret / div close caret. Every tag needs one of those. So this is called style 1, and then in the CSS document created, we have a class, and that is defined by the dot. You put a dot before the name of the attribute, and then we name it the same thing, style 1. And this CSS file is called lesson.css. And back in the HTML, we had a simple link to that called link href equals, and then the name of the CSS file, lesson.css. The rel equals style sheet and type equals text CSS just tells us that this link is going to a CSS document. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed the class. If you have any questions, you can contact me or comment or something like that. And I look forward to making more of these. Like I said, I just wanted to keep this really brief, and this is a very basic class, just the fundamentals, just starting off, just barely even scratching the surface. but the ideas in this lesson are fundamental to having an understanding of how to even start making your own website from code. So with that, thank you, and I look forward to putting more videos up. Bye.